morning, all. Welcome to Rezlife Sundays Online. While we wait, let's take a look at what's happening in Rezlife. Why Christian is our current message series. In this series, you'll hear some of our rad Rezlife volunteer leaders share their stories of faith. They'll answer the question, why Christian? Keep coming back to hear from a new leader each week right here on our channel. Rezlife Live is cracking us up. It's like a late night show invaded Rezlife. Whether you're a super fan already or new to the game, check it out for lots of laughter, games, and prizes. As your grandma says, it's good people watching. Subscribe so you don't miss it. If you're looking for a deeper dive, hop in on a Zoom Sunday group this summer. 8th grade grads through 12th graders, aka high school, start at 10:30 on Sunday. 6th and 7th graders meet right after this video. Make sure to text in at the end for the info that you'll need to join a group. Let us know how we can be praying with you. Click the link in the video description below to submit a prayer request, and we will begin praying with you. We have Bible studies this summer. These are classic Rezlife summer vibes. Register at core.org to go deeper in your faith with peers this summer. If you're so incredibly done with Zoom, sign up to say hi to staff in person, in your own driveway. We'll keep a safe distance, but stop by for a fun chat. Another way to keep up with everything Rezlife is to follow us on Instagram. Check out our Insta profiles and give us a follow to stay in the know. Now it's time to start Sundays Online. Find a comfy spot and maybe something to take notes and get ready for an awesome message.
Oh, hey, I'm Drew Henderson. I'm happy to be here, just playing a little Smash Brothers. Miss you guys, miss everybody, miss seeing people, miss the interaction, but we'll get back together of playing some Smash Brothers or Gaga Ball or whatever else we do in this fun space of Rezlife. I have been a leader here at Rezlife for over 10 years now. I'm currently leading the soon-to-be 8th grade boys. I've been with them since they were in 6th grade, and I think if you would have asked me almost nearly a decade ago if I'd still be here and loving it this much, I don't know if I would have believed you, but it has been one of the best experiences of my life, and it's helped me grow spiritually and personally with my family and at home and at work. So a little bit about me. I wanted to tell my story, and I'm really excited to be here today to tell my story. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of background of how I grew up, a little bit of when I kind of came to Christ and what that has meant to me. So I grew up here in Kansas City, born and raised. Lived in Lenexa. My parents still live in the house that I grew up in. They bought 35 years ago. So I've only had one quote unquote home per se. Furthest I lived away from Kansas City was when I went to college in Manhattan, but grew up in a stable family. We went to church pretty much every week for the most part. I went through confirmation as a middle schooler. It was into sports growing up, baseball, basketball, soccer. And my soccer career kind of took off a little bit growing up, joined a traveling tournament team, and it really kind of took a lot of my attention and focus growing up through those middle school and high school years, right? I remember times when we'd go to church on Sundays and we would leave in the middle of the sermon to get to a soccer game on time. And as it got more competitive and you got older, that became more and more of a priority in my life. So I saw myself fading away from going to church and forgetting a little bit of the stuff that I learned in Sunday school and in confirmation. And as I got older, it got even worse, right? As I went into college, I went to college at K-State, not far down the road, and soccer wasn't a part of my life as much anymore. And there was a little bit of a void there that I was missing. And I think that void I tried to fill with different things, and it got me into some trouble in some areas. And I spent most of my college just trying to find out who I was, what I was supposed to do, and where I was supposed to go. Changed my major 2 or 3 or 4 times, I think. Finally landing on broadcast journalism. I figured I woke up every morning bright and early at 10 a.m. in college, right? And turned on SportsCenter, and I said, I can be a SportsCenter anchor. I love sports, I love watching sports, I love playing sports. That's what I'm gonna do. Got my degree in that, worked in Manhattan at the radio station up there, did some high school stuff, and I really enjoyed what I was doing, but I was still lacking something. I was still missing that void. I tried a few Bible studies up there. There was a gentleman who would come into our fraternity and kind of have these Bible studies, and I went to a few of those, but didn't really get the connection that I needed, and I didn't really get that fulfillment that I was looking for. There's still something lacking. And as I got closer and closer to graduating college, I still felt that void growing inside of me. And I remember shortly before graduation, I remember sitting in my bed one day and praying and just asking God to help me. And I don't know what I was necessarily asking for, or just kind of a generic, just help me, help guide me, show me what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, you have the pressure at home from my parents to find a job. What are you gonna do? Do you have any leads on a job? How are you gonna support yourself in a few weeks after you graduate? And I didn't have the answers to that yet, and I was a little scared. There was a little insecurity added to that void inside of me. And so I kept praying, and you know, the next day, you know, this angel appeared, right? No, kidding. It doesn't quite work out that way, right? It didn't change the next morning, right? I went to my job at the radio station there, I went to classes, and then I remember continually praying every now and then, and just still, you know, show me what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, give me some sign, give me something that I can go off of, and that didn't really come right away. So my graduation came and went. I went home back here to Kansas City, and I did immediately get a interview and a job offer with the Chiefs radio network. And so I was like, that's my sign, that's it. I'm good. So I go in and I talk to the man in charge for the Chiefs radio, and I talk to him, and I go in thinking this is going to be the greatest thing ever. I'm going to go to all these Chiefs games. I'm going to get to talk to all these Chiefs players. I'm going to be around football and sports. This is my dream. I've done it. This is it. This is the sign. And the job offer was to work all day on Sundays in the studio. And I didn't get to go to the football field, and I didn't get to meet any football players. And it was 12 to 13 hours every single Sunday. Which was just another blocker for me and another excuse to not go to church, right? If I'm working from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday and I get home, I don't really have the motivation to go to church, or I don't have the time to go to church on Sunday at the time. But I liked what I was doing there, and I liked the job. and I enjoyed it. The only problem there is it was only one day a week, and my parents were still on me to find a quote-unquote real job, right? You need something to help support you and eventually your family. And so I found a job downtown working for a financial company, and that is where I think God pushed me to go, right? That's where within the first 6 to 8 months, I met a girl who later became my wife. And we went out on a date, and she was telling me about her family and telling me that her father was a pastor of many years, her brother was a pastor, her sister married a pastor, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, I haven't really been to church in a long time. We don't really have a ton in common. And then come to find out she has an 8-month-old son. So all this stuff comes into play, and I'm really terrified, right? Like, everything inside of me is kind of saying, okay, this was nice, she's a nice girl, let's maybe go a different direction, this isn't you. But then there was something else that was kind of pushing me as well, and that void that I was missing was starting to it felt almost smaller. It felt like it was growing or filling up a little bit, right? And so we continued to talk, we continued to see each other, and it was that angel that I joked about earlier that came down, that God sent. Like, she was the one that I was supposed to be with. She's the one that got me back into going to church. There were some changes at the Chiefs Radio Network. I no longer had that job, and that was a benefit as well, because I was able to go to church now. And she is the reason why I'm actually probably here. She's the one that grabbed me and drugged me to volunteer at Rezlife. So without my wife Rachel, I wouldn't be here today. Now, she only volunteered for I think 2 or 3 years, and then we went on and had a couple of kids, but so she had to take some hiatus, and I loved it so much here though that I stayed, right? And it was probably the best thing that I've ever done. Like I said, I've been here over 10 years volunteering, and I love coming, I love playing, Xbox and Switch with you guys and Gaga Ball and shooting basketballs, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. And it's given me so many more opportunities to grow in my faith, and it's really all due to her getting me here, and it's due to that path that I didn't really want to take, right? I didn't really want that job maybe downtown, and I was really nervous about being with Rachel at the time, just because I didn't have the faith background or the faith knowledge that her and her family had, and it was a little intimidating. But that little push kept me going, and I realized many years later that was that prayer that I had asked for so many years ago being answered and bringing it into my life. And without that, without that guidance and that, I guess, that faith that I did have, looking back, if I was praying, I had that faith to just continue moving on and pushing forward, I wouldn't be here today. So my challenge to you, and you guys are probably sitting there thinking, this is a great story, what does it have to do with me, Drew? We see you each week, or we know that you've prayed and God answered your prayer, but my challenge to you guys is to continue to pray and seek and tell your story and allow others to resonate within you as well. You may not be ready to tell your story yet, or be able to tell your story. You may not know what that story is yet. Maybe your big aha moment hasn't occurred, right? Mine didn't happen until I was in my mid to late 20s. But it will happen, and if you practice living that out, I think you'll be prepared. We've already seen that recently for those of you that watched the very brave souls and the high schoolers that shared not more than a month ago all their amazing stories. Be prepared to do that, and if you're not prepared, I would challenge you to listen to stories. Let others move you, be open to others moving you, and keep your ears open for God speaking to you.
Oh God, my Father, there is no shadow of turning with Thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is my faithfulness, Lord, unto thee. Summer, winter, springtime or harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above, join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto thee.
Now may you guys go out, share your story, hear God's whispers, and make a difference in the world. Amen.
Thanks so much for watching. To connect with the Zoom group, text in now. If you like what we're up to, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Have a great week and see you next time.